morning, good afternoon, good evening, Y Whales. Well, we're back from permissionless, and it was an amazing experience for so many of us to finally meet in person. But now let's go ahead and start diving into, like, there's been a lot of evolutions in projects, and I think we've seen kind of the boom of 2021, and now we've got the bear market of 22. How long that will last, I don't think anyone really knows. But for those that are kind of really ingrained in the space and here for the long haul, a bear market isn't always a bad thing. Clearly, it's bad from an investment perspective, but it gives some time where the heat kind of comes off the market and allows those that are already building or wanting to build some time and space to really concentrate on what's the next evolution in the space. And as always, it's never going to be what we saw before. We've seen the DeFi. DeFi is now a given. There's no like major protocols coming out that we see that's like, oh my God, DeFi, I can swap coins. Like, we get it. That's a normal thing. We saw NFTs, we saw DAOs, and now we're about to start seeing probably the rise of a few other technologies, metaverse included. But
Yeah, it was great meeting you in Miami too, Jay, and a bunch of the whales. So it's nice chatting to everyone who I met there in Miami. And I'm coming in from Montauk today in New York before heading back to Bali. Scotty's in sunny Noosa in Australia. But no, it's been a great journey so far. Obviously, as you said, the rise in the market, obviously 2020, 2021, and now it's obviously pulled back a lot this year. But as you did say, like it, and I think based from all the discussions at Permissionless and also at VCon, everyone was sort of talking about that, that bear market gives the builders the opportunity to build without that stress of people saying, why aren't we pumping all the time, or there's not that constant talk of price where it's more about the actual building of the product and what we're doing. So in terms of BetU, we launched EarnU, which was our prediction play to earn prediction game. So we launched that about 8 or 9 weeks ago now, and so we're just in the process of growing those numbers and the players. It's been a little bit slower than we would have thought. Obviously, the correction in the market probably didn't help that, but we're excited to roll out the BetU platform in the coming months, and then post that BetUverse. So BetUverse is the whole metaverse resort and casino, which we've been busy building since last year. All the casino floors.
Well, we're not jumping into the metaverse yet. I know you're ready to go. You're ready to go on the metaverse thing, but there's like BetU and everything you built was a huge project. I mean, massive undertaking. And so I don't want to jump into, what's next, which I always know is as the dev side is what you guys are like excited about the new thing. But let's really talk. What was learned? What was kind of the successes and even some of the kind of learnings that you had around launching? Because you guys started, it was a BNB coin, correct?
Correct. Oh, yeah, it's on Binance Smart Chain.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, the launch and what you guys have what's occurred from that perspective of the original platform that kind of got you guys excited, that validated your original theses, and then some of the learnings of what you're now kind of coming through and pivoting a little.
Yeah. Well, so we went, the initial concept is still the peer-to-peer betting, which we haven't rolled out yet. And so we shifted when we first started building, but this is probably before we even spoke to you, is we went from, we wanted to roll out the play to earn game initially for a bunch of reasons. One is obviously licensing, so we could offer a product globally without any restrictions. And also the popularity of the play to earn gaming space in comparison to, say, like the gambling space, just within crypto with Axie, for example. When we first did the shift, Axie was about, $30 odd, and what did it pump to, 160 or something, and now it's come back to 30 or less and doesn't look like slowing. But so we wanted to roll out a platform globally without any restrictions, and so we went for the play to earn game first, that's what we've rolled out. And the learnings obviously from that is the platforms are essentially, the BetU platform and the EarnU platform is essentially the same infrastructure. It's just one is you can't lose as such, so you need to stake BetU tokens and then you can earn BetU tokens, and then the other one's real money betting, where, you know, we'll allow different cryptos and things, but learn a hell of a lot in terms of the building of the platform, the onboarding of users, the way users behave, which then we can just take all that data and information and put it into the BetU platform, which we'll launch in the coming months.
Yeah, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going, Scott.
I was going to say that the EarnU was something where we thought would be a really good testing ground. And like any platform, when you launch it, you're going to have bugs, you're going to have creases. And the EarnU platform just allowed us to iron out those creases and bugs without any complaints from players, because they're obviously not betting with real money. They're staking their BetU. They're predicting the outcome of sports and esports events around the world and getting paid in BetU for those correct predictions. So for us, it was a really good dip the toe in the water. Let's just see how this platform performs. We're blown away with how well it did go. With so few tweaks, so few creases that we need to iron out. So yeah, now we're really all systems go and getting ready for the launch of the actual BetU platform, which is the traditional sports book and casino.
So where did now I know you're ready to go. So now it's like, look, this was a huge project to begin with, and you guys went from concept to deployment, if I remember correctly, in 7 months. So, which is an incredible sprint of which I'm sure you guys, you know, launched, and it's like, oh my God, now we have to, that's just the starting line. You know, now we have a product. Now we have to go out and we have to deploy it. We need users. We need, feedback. We need all these things. And so throughout that, somehow you guys decided to take on another massive project, which is the metaverse. So, run through now and now, Paul, you're good to go. So let's kind of hear, the thought process around it's not a pivot, it's an expansion of the original concept. And where did that come from? And how do you guys, feel that fits into the original theses?
Well, it was something we were always looking at doing. It was just going to be further down the track. And with the play to earn space, obviously the metaverse and the gaming is all sort of tied in together. And so we see us having 3 perfectly integrated platforms where we have EarnU, which is the predict to earn. Then we have BetU, which is a traditional online sportsbook and casino, but will involve all major cryptocurrencies. That's one change we made to the original plan, was instead of forcing people to bet with the BetU token, we'll allow them to bet with Bitcoin, USDT, ETH, and whatever else we want, because obviously we just want people using the platform and betting for that turnover. Whereas, forcing people to then convert into BetU tokens when obviously the volatility is there. Obviously, it's already there in Bitcoin and things, and it's more so on the smaller coins. So we think that's a big change we made. And then the BetUverse is something we wanted to roll out further into the future, but it's obviously a big build, and it's a separate company that's actually doing it. So we hired a game development company, an animation studio out of Brazil, and they've been working on it since almost November last year. And so that's where we just feel that the whole metaverse casino concept, where we can then feed traffic back into the betting platform and have all our own games and things within the metaverse space. So if you want, Jay, I can show you a video if you wanted me to share the screen.
Absolutely.
Good evening, sir.
We've been waiting for your arrival, sir. Let me show you around. Welcome to BetUverse Resort and Casino.
Let's see the game.
Yeah. So here's the actual, what we've already built in terms of the.
So you're using the Unity engine, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
I appreciate when people go with either Unreal or Unity, so that we don't have, some of these proprietary things that a few projects have rolled out.
And then so here's we've got the bar, and then lounge, We've got all the slot machines up here, poker tables. We've got to play blackjack and all that sort of thing over here. So we're actually building out all the games now. So the floor, etc., has been built, and now it's about rolling out the floor.
When Paul says we're building out the games, what he's actually talking about there is we actually building out the games. We're designing the games. We can basically do rock, scissors, paper as one game, for example. We can do whatever we want with these slot machines. We can partner with other casinos or other players in the metaverse space, and they can actually brand the slot machines as them. They can actually brand the blackjack tables as them. So that's super exciting. When you're building your own casino games, you've got full control over what they look like, what they represent, and how they're branded.
Well, say with, like, for example, the BetU platform, we've partnered with Sportradar, who give us all the data feeds for sport, Odin for all the data feeds for all the esports, and then we've got a bunch of different suppliers for the casino we work through and through one aggregator, and then they provide all the leading casino games that you would see on any other online casino. So we've got that traditional stuff within the BetU platform, but within the metaverse stuff, there's no one building these sort of games. So we have to build them all ourselves, which is exciting, but obviously challenging in the same term.
So walk me through a little bit of, and I want to understand a little bit of the technology that we just saw on screen there. So we've got Unreal Engine, which is rendering a game, which is entirely appropriate. And it's, that's Web 2 technology, which works fabulously and it's there. For these games, and we're talking about potential real money being at stake here. Talk to me about the blockchain side of how those games are going to be validated. Is it a Web 2 server that's generating these things out, or is every single card dealt, every single hand and spin of the wheel, like what's recorded, what's done by Web 2, what's done by Web 3? So walk me through a little bit of that.
Yeah, so we'll be using both infrastructures in a lot of the different games, and some will be using like Chainlink for the randomization and random number generation, and things for the slot machines will be part, and then some of the blackjack and things will be traditional Web 2 within Unity. So it'll be a game within a game as such, and then we'll be using all the different crypto wallets and things for obviously the payments and payouts, etc.
And are you sticking with Binance, or have you migrated chains?
No, so we're still just on Binance Smart Chain. We maybe bridged to ETH just because it's 100% compatible, but we will, at this stage, we'll still allow other crypto to be played with, the same as on BetU. So, for example, if you want to come in and play slots with BTC, you can do that. But what we'll do is we'll have sort of a deposit wallet, and then we'll have a playing wallet, which the playing wallet will be centralized just because we need it to be able to, you don't want to be playing a transaction every time someone's on a slot machine. Say if they're using ETH and hitting spin, you don't want to be paying a transaction fee every time. So you'll be depositing into like a centralized wallet as such, and then you'll be able to play with that, and it'll make it a lot easier and cheaper in terms of the fees.
That's fabulous. And obviously it's not going to be a vacuum. There's not going to be a vacuum of people in the space. So there's going to be other members interacting. Is there, players? What about like staff? What about casino staff? What about, other people kind of interacting? Is this going to be a hosted event, or what's it going to look like?
Yeah, so we'll limit the players, like the amount of people on one server at one time, obviously for latency and lag, to make sure it's a smooth experience. But so we've got a bunch of different ideas with the staff. One is like for example, we're doing a partnership with Vogu, which is like another sort of metaverse play where they've got these robot heads that they'll potentially be like dealers within the casino and bartenders and things like that. And we obviously want to make it hugely interactive. You'd be actually, when you're playing poker, where you can actually talk to other people, because it's like, say for example, there's one other poker. It's a free-to-play poker game in the metaverse in Decentraland, which is Decentral Games or Ice Poker. And the figures are saying that it's about 60% of the traffic that go through Decentraland is for Ice Poker, which is a phenomenal number.
Wow.
And that's like a free-to-play model. It's just poker. And we think we can, obviously Decentraland has limitations in terms of the graphics and what they're doing there. So we feel like we can really build off that and make it such an interactive experience where you can actually potentially talk to other people you're playing with. You can have banter back and forth, whether it's chat or voice and things. So there's so much we can do. In terms of staffing, obviously we'll have the poker, the dealers and things. It'll be an automated thing at this stage to eliminate any human error or things within, say, like the play. But it's definitely something we would look for in the future. And it's also so many things you can potentially do with workers and things, and providing, a sort of a wage for different people to come in, and they would, whether it's, cleaning up the floor or whatever it is within the space, cleaning rooms up, because we want to actually build it out. The long-term vision is seeing it as like a resort, like a Vegas-style resort where you have the casino floor, then you'll have like play-to-earn gaming levels, we'd have like a NFT museum. I'd love to build out like an education level too for like crypto where you can walk around. So essentially, like if you go into Caesar's Palace in Vegas or the Wynn, where you can go through and shop at the different retailers, or you can go into watch a show and things like that. It's sort of where we want to take it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it truly, once you have the metaverse, there's so many things you can do, and you can move that around and do a number of things, especially with Unity behind it and the fact that you guys are kind of on-chain, off-chain. What's the, talk about the roadmap. So you've got a number of things that are kind of coming down the pipe. You still have the original project, and when does the actual gambling side of BetU take off?
So we're looking to roll out BetU probably about 30 days after we do the NFT sale. So
okay.
the platform's all ready to build. So we wanted to do because we do have a lot going on, we sort of wanted to stagger it rather than sort of just putting it out there. And so that the announcements sort of get blurred. So we want to do the NFT sale for BetUverse, which is basically that gives people an avatar within BetUverse, points to play EarnU every week where they can earn crypto rewards. They'll also get a condominium within the BetUverse hotel, which will release all the details for that. And the way we see that is like where you'd actually be able to kit out your own room, sort of like Sims way back when, where you can, put in your own poker table and have like private poker parties with other people. You could, potentially meet a friend, whatever it is, and show them your room, have private parties, whatever you want to do. So we'll put that out there and where we want to take that.
There's no one that's ever gotten in trouble in a private Vegas room ever. So yeah. I see the exact reason for building that, and can't wait for some user-to-user experiences of what that will end up turning into.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll do the NFT sale in the middle of June, and then we'll release the BetU platform likely the end of July, and that'll be the full sportsbook casino. And then the actual launch of BetUverse in terms of playable games is likely in Q4 because we need to do a lot of testing in terms of just for our own licenses as well, in terms of obviously that the payouts, the random number generation, etc., all meet the required standards.
Scott, you're not. She's not keeping you. He's on gallivanting the world, and he's left you to kind of build all this stuff. Is that correct?
No, definitely not. Definitely not, mate. He's out doing what every CEO and founder should do: is just meeting and greeting, making great partnerships. I think we're most excited about the utility of these NFTs. Everyone is aware of what an NFT is, but I certainly haven't seen any. Except for probably the VFriends, where the utility of this NFTs is so great, where every single owner of the NFT is getting bonus bets, they're getting odds boosters for the actual sports book, bonus bets each and every single week. They're coming to EarnU and getting free predictions. So we're excited about the NFT and the utility around that, but we're also really keen, and I say this to my friends, trying to explain it to people who aren't crypto native or NFT native, and saying it's similar to a computer game, but you're actually betting with real money. And so I think that's a nice little sort of analogy there, where this is one of the very very few times I've ever sort of thought, okay, you can actually play a computer game, run around in this BetUverse, put down whatever bet you may want to be, whether it be sports or casino, and you're actually betting with your real crypto, which is going to be great for those guys who've got portfolios that are sort of hemorrhaging at the moment. You can certainly try and make a little bit back by throwing down some bets or putting some ideally spins on the actual roulette table or blackjack table. So that for me is probably what we're most excited about. The BetU platform, the actual traditional sportsbook and casino, that there is really probably the middle piece of the pie, where we've obviously built out EarnU. Now we've got the BetU platform coming straight after these NFTs are launched, and then from there the BetUverse will then be basically integrated into that whole ecosystem. So by the end of this year, we've got EarnU fully functioning, BetU, the sportsbook and casino, and then also the BetUverse with the NFTs there, all under the one umbrella.
I mean, it's a massive, undertaking, and it's more than just the two of you guys. So talk a little bit about the team, and some of, kind of how it's grown and what you guys have had to deal with. Again, just recently, crypto winter, which I don't believe in. It's just a little bit of a bear right now, because there's so many people building. There's so much innovation happening. Winter means everyone's given up on it, and we've gone home. That's not the case here. So talk a little bit about like the team and how you guys have been reacting and pivoting over the last few months.
Yeah, so as mentioned before, in terms of BetUverse, we've got 6 animators and developers, game developers out of Brazil. So we've just hired basically a studio there to build out everything to do with BetUverse, from the animations to the NFTs to the game design. We've got a testing facility in Melbourne, which we use. They're not part of our staff or anything, but they'll do the testing for the different games. We had to hire them initially for the BetU platform to make sure our security and infrastructure was up to par, which it was. Our team in Vietnam do all our dev work. So it's probably about 15 guys there in terms of from blockchain developers, front end, back end engineers. So they're building out all the BetU and EarnU platform and manage all the data feeds and things from like Sport Radar and Odin, etc., for both EarnU and BetU. And then in terms of marketing capabilities, which is something we've just started to build out more now since the product's actually been in market, most of our team, and we're trying to build sort of a local team in Bali. So we've got a bunch of guys there who've come on recently to help us with the NFT launch, but also from the gambling experience. And we've got one guy starting in June who's ex-Betfair. He'll come on board, who was a marketing director there in terms of the betting experience, which will be really valuable in terms of growing the user base, which he's already done at Betfair in Australia. So that's the whole team, I guess, now is probably about 30 odd people across both platforms and everything we're doing.
It's a big empire you're building.
Well, it's just, I'm sort of hoping at some stage so I see like EarnU, obviously we had to build EarnU and BetU, or everything we've done is we're built from scratch, but the EarnU platform is essentially built and the BetU platform is built. We just need to roll it out, we've still got to integrate the casino games, but it's probably like a 3 or 4 week process through the aggregators. And then we have all the casino games. And then once they're built, we hope they're pretty much done. They're not going to require a huge amount of changes moving forward. A sportsbook's essentially a sportsbook. There's some different ideas we have to integrate like NFTs and how that could work for like season passes and things. But then it'll be, most of the dev work will all be within BetUverse, and depending on the popularity and the success and the customer feedback is where we take it. This, as you said before, like you can take it anywhere you want to. And that's the exciting part of it. But I'd like to hope that, come, another couple of months, we'll be focusing on growing the user base for BetU and EarnU, and then most of the building stuff is done there. And the creative stuff will be left to BetUverse.
So you said the word NFT. So I now I'm going to jump on there. So I've thrown my chips out. I've got all my Bitcoin on the table. I've got a really great hand, and somebody else goes all in, which is way above me. Can I throw my Bored Ape out on the table? How can I call? How can I match? Like, is there any, is there like the little, shitcoin table over in the corner that we can just throw out all the Luna and other things and just kind of have fun, or are you guys going to kind of try to keep it professional here?
No, at this stage we planned to try and keep it professional, because obviously there are rules as well, and it needs to be provably fair and everything to pass all the tests. So the left field things, but who knows where it can go. And again, that's what I sort of said before. Initially, we want to build out the base, in terms of we'll have blackjack, roulette, poker, and the slot machine games. And then from there, how we want to play it and take it will be sort of up to the community and what we think is going to entertain them, and create excitement for everyone who's enjoying it.
So you've got as you said, the avatar drop is coming first. And that's about, we'll see when this podcast airs, but that's imminent. That's coming up here soon. And then is it going to be able to walk in and immediately bet, or is it kind of a phased rollout of like, hey, let's people walk around a little bit and then the betting will come down the road, or is it game by game? So again, I'm trying to understand, like, I'm going to buy my avatar, but how long do I have to wait before I can start losing money?
Yeah, well, so in terms of losing money, you'll need to wait. It won't be till Q4 in terms of BetU, but the avatar will instantly give you points every week to use on EarnU, which you can earn BetU tokens from.
Okay. So
the reason we went with the avatar, we could have done it a bunch of different ways in the NFT space, whether it's just a card or, like a key for, say, like the condominium, etc. But we thought the avatar, taps into that whole profile picture sort of display, but takes it a step further where you can actually use it, because we'd like to have it where you can actually customize your avatar and things as well. So not if you've got your Bored Ape, for example, where they've got the specific shirt on, where we'd like to see it in the future where you'll actually be able to purchase wearables and change your avatar. But in terms of the utility, it will be instant with EarnU, and then you also get bets within the betting platform. But that won't be a way for you to lose your money yet. Once we actually release everything to do with the avatar is going to be benefit driven. So it's not going to be a way that you'll be able to lose. You'll get say EarnU points. You'll get credits within BetU. You'll get credits within BetU versus to play, and that's where we see that it'll really increase the value of it. As we do roll out the products, people will start getting more and more utility. But if the whole concept, obviously, of the casino is then that you will bring in other funds to then you can donate that to us, Jay. So if you wanted to, throw down your Bored Ape,
no, don't worry. Everyone gets Jay's money at some point. So it's everyone's favorite thing to spend. So I look happily to donating a bunch to your casino. Unlike I do zero gambling in a normal casino, but let's pull back, and I want to talk about community. To me, that's the biggest part of Web3, and I think anyone that isn't thinking about community is entirely just building in a vacuum. And you guys have done that. So let's talk. Kind of where do you have today, and what's the community giving you feedback on for the metaverse side of things?
In terms of where we're at with the community, that's something we've still struggled a little bit with, to be honest. Like, I thought we would have had a stronger community. We've got pretty big numbers through like Twitter and Telegram and Discord and things. But in terms of the actual interaction and with the sport and esport, I would have expected more involvement and more engagement. And that's one thing which sort of disappoints me a little bit with the whole crypto space is, although I think we're building something really cool and innovative in all fronts, still everyone's about price and just the money side of things, which I was hoping we would build this community. And it's still early, so I've still got plenty of time to improve it. But I want to build like this community of sports and esports fans and gamblers and crypto enthusiasts, but all together, not just talking about just on a token price or Bitcoin's up or down, but actually talking about sport every week, talking about the different esports. And you're probably aware of, the growth of esport, especially in the last few years, has just been enormous. And you see that they're filling out stadiums just as big as, professional sports would be. And so I'd like to hope at some stage in the future, we can grow a community of hundreds of thousands or potentially millions of people that are just fans of sport and esport. But so far, we've actually struggled a little bit with that engagement because everyone's very price focused, whether it's a token or crypto alike. So, that's some of the people we've brought on recently that I mentioned in Bali in terms of marketing is really just going to be focused on like one dedicated community manager, where all they're doing is actually engaging with the community. Like we have mods already, obviously, but in terms of like just different games, like we had a poker tournament last week where, we just put up a prize of $1,000 or whatever it was for the total prize pool was $1,000. But so getting people to come in and play and just be involved in the community, and just so their job is every day to have different engagement activities for the community because they want to be in there. And it's something we're really hell bent on growing and changing the whole philosophy or psychology where they're just focused on a crypto token price and actually want to be involved in our community. And that's one of the things I'd say, like in terms of Bored Apes, for example, that you brought up before, like that's their community is so strong. And obviously that was the whole success of, Ape Land and everything. But being in Miami, and VCon, like the amount of apes and things and mutants running around and their interaction is phenomenal. And it sort of makes me quite envious in terms of what we have yet to build.
Yeah, I mean, I can say as someone who leads a community, and you saw all the whales running around, over 100 of us from all around the world. It's something that, again, should really be on your focus and on your radar. And I know you guys are so technology focused and perfecting these things, and you will absolutely get there. And so you kind of go about it from two different ways. I started with the community and we're building a platform, and you guys are building an amazing platform, and you will have a community that rallies around it. And I think for what you're doing, you're probably doing it the correct way. Because there's a lot of people that are promising a lot of things like, hey, buy this avatar, buy this, but they haven't even written a single line of code yet. And so what I got out of permissionless and a number of the conferences, please, give me your opinions, was a lot of the anonymous teams, a lot of the, like, hey, I'm going to promise I'm going to do something later, but give me the money now. And, here's a fancy roadmap. A lot of that's going by the wayside. It's early, so early in the asset class. And there was, a couple wins here or there. And you just, as long as you got in early, it was almost anything was a safe bet. And now we're seeing a very cool temper kind of seem to come across the entire industry and asset class. And that's not a bad thing. To have, the wildfire go through and kind of kill out all the underbrush, it really exposes the good teams, the good people that are actually building things and care about the long-term viability of it. And that's why we love having you guys on, because, look, you came out with the original project, you came out with like, here's our roadmap. And then as soon as you got into it, you realized you could do more and you could continue building it. And it wasn't, even though you probably could have done a lot of things that other projects do, which is like, yeah, that's good enough. And let's go, now we're going to go off and do something else. You're expanding on the idea, and you have enough breadth and depth to build what you have today, as well as give a continued evolving roadmap for the community as they come on board over the years. And I think that's huge. You guys are still less than a year old, correct?
Yeah,
oh
just coming up to a year. Actually,
I'm even older than that.
It's no, we're just coming up to a year since we first hired our first lawyer, actually, to write up our plans. So it has definitely come along. I think in terms of that roadmap, I think a mistake we did make was moving into the play to earn first. I think what we should have done is actually release the betting platform, which was in the initial plans first, and then expanded, because obviously when you're changing strategy or products, and although it's an addition to it, and in the long term it'll be very beneficial, and I think we can grow a huge audience just around the play to earn. I think it would have, maybe in hindsight, we should have just released what we said we were going to release and then moved into the play to earn game. But it was also, we had to make that decision. The play to earn was booming at the end of last year, and I think if we had have just been a couple of months earlier, we would have really caught that wave. And I don't think anyone really predicted to Axie, just for example, to fall off a cliff like it's done, that whole space. And that's where I believe what we're doing is, it makes sense to have our play to earn game where we can bring players into the ecosystem, but we have a profitable business model on the other side, which will go to fund the game. So we think the whole ecosystem works really well, where to me, like the great majority of play to earn games, they don't really make any financial sense because there's no money coming in. So if people stop buying, it has to come down because they're just paying it out. Whereas with the whole betting platform and also the metaverse casino, they'll be profitable businesses, which will go back to the token. And, that'll make the allowance for people to actually be paid out on the play to earn side. But in terms of the building stuff that you mentioned, I agree completely with you. People are raising all this money for like a metaverse project, but they haven't built anything. Like already now, like you saw before, we've already built all the casino floor. It's already done. The designs for like the condominium things and you can walk around is already done. And now it's about building out the players. And obviously the NFT sale is part of a fundraising exercise in terms of generating more funds to complete the build. But we wanted it to be in a position where, we can already show people what we've done to date, and people can already come in and play EarnU, although it hasn't been uber popular yet. They can still come in and see the infrastructure that we've already built and test it out, so they can at least see that we're capable of building things that they'll use in the future.
Yeah. And again, we're still early. There's still so much going on. And, I want to circle back because you guys are on, Binance Smart Chain, which is, again, everyone's got their various opinions on chains. But I think that from where we started, it was really like you could almost go out and pick any chain. It was almost irrelevant. And I know a lot of people that were, on Binance, but as well as, kind of on Terra. And I think that, one of the things that nobody really understood is could a top 10 blockchain just poof disappear? And I mean, that's causing some concern around the industry from a variety of perspectives. And so suddenly now when you're looking at, what is the reason why I'm choosing the chain? Why am I choosing ETH? Why am I choosing Binance? Why am I choosing Solana? There's a lot more that's need to go into that besides like, hey, ease of use and a variety of things like long-term viability for the projects that were on Terra. And there was a lot of dApps that were on there doing very well and had nothing to do with the UST stablecoin debacle that happened, but quite simply, made a bet on the technology, made a bet on the founders, and not just is their dApp offline, but their user base is entirely scattered into the wind. And so it becomes to me really a lot more of validating my thought process that this is going to be an ecosystem of many chains. The idea that there's going to be one chain to rule them all is actually becoming more and more impossible. You're going to have to be a multi-chain, ecosystem to be able to survive in the Web3 of the future. But what's your guys' thoughts?
Well, it was catastrophic, wasn't it, the last couple of weeks? And it is, to me, one of the most devastating things about it was, as you talked, all the developers that were building projects and building great projects on the whole Terra ecosystem. And even in Bali, where I live, I knew probably 6 or 7 devs that were working on different projects within that ecosystem. Some had got grants, some were doing it off their own back. And now it's just gone, and just devastating for that. And obviously you can look at the financial side of people who, and I think that whole ecosystem was built off like savings. So a lot of people potentially, and loans. So a lot of people thought that they might have been doing something safe. And this is where it's so detrimental to the industry, because someone might have come in who's they see a top 10 project. You would think that's security. And then they come on and they see that they can have $1 of UST and then they can stake it in, say, like Anchor and earn 20% return. And they think, well, I'm in crypto, but I don't want to, I want to hedge my bet. I think that, say, for example, they might have thought, I think the bear market is coming, so I'm going to put it in UST because it's stable and secure. And now they've lost everything. Or there's those people that, because it was built on loans as well, everyone leveraged all their Luna to buy other projects or to do whatever they wanted to do. And now they got liquidated and lost a lot. It's pretty devastating for the whole ecosystem. I'm sure it'll rebound. And I think crypto moves so fast that a lot of people,
they'll forget. They'll be forgotten. But no, I agree with you. And there was a lot of, we talked to a few dev teams that were out raising money that we knew were like, you just closed a round literally a month ago. And they go, we had the treasury in UST.
Wow.
They believed, they did the raise, they had their money, and they were over in Terra, just saying, look, we've got $1 million in the bank. Cool. We're earning 20%. Like we can manage that and other things. And there was a number of failures that Web3 kind of opened up on this. And the number one is, that kind of permissions level. Teams that had flown, kind of like, hey, my money's in the stable coin. Like I'm going to leave home and do all the right things. I'm going to put my ledger in a vault. I'm going to, I'm not going to travel with it because that would be irresponsible. Or, hey, I'm using a multi-sig wallet. So there's a lot of technology successes, I would say, during this, but there was also a lot of technology failures. Clearly algo stable coins are dead. I'd never believed in them in the first place because I don't understand the algorithm, but I understand blockchains and smart contracts. So I'm not going to say I was a genius for avoiding it. I was too dumb to understand it. So I stayed away. But that clearly wasn't everyone, but I knew a number of people that were traveling, left home, left their ledgers and everything else in the safe and had no ability to liquidate and just watched UST do its little downward spiral with no ability to get out. And I think that's going to really showcase, again, we have to evolve as an industry. Like that can't be like, oh, I'm just effed. That doesn't work, and that doesn't help for the asset class because it's going to scare a lot of people away that will never come back. So I really applaud you guys for, again, the amount of time, energy you put into this. And I also want to applaud you for saying, like, look, the currencies of which we're going to use is Bitcoin, and others. I think that's the right answer. You guys are having your own coin. You clearly would like to see value there, but that's a different investment vehicle than something like Bitcoin. There's two different theses here, and you guys need liquidity as well for your team. So I think it's really interesting from my perspective to watch, the BetU universe as well as other teams like yours really starting to take a step back and say, like, let's let somebody else manage Bitcoin. Like that's enough of a thing. We don't need to create yet another coin, yet another currency, yet another token. And so it's really interesting you guys saying, but we can provide value. We can provide, a place for people to come. We can do lots of things there. And so I think that kind of like openness that's starting to expand a little bit is going to be really healthy for the overall Web3 roadmaps.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things with for us to open up is in terms of the gambling space, it's bear market or bull market, people are going to gamble. Even more so sometimes in the bear market, rightly or wrongly, that's how people behave. And it was when Luna crashed the other day, with stake.com, which is one of the leading sort of Web2 crypto-based in terms of accepting cryptocurrency gambling platforms. The top 9 people in the 24 hours had gambled $51 million. And that happens every single day. And that was when the ultimate crash with Luna was going on. So it doesn't stop people, and people want to bet in Bitcoin or they want to bet in Ethereum. And so for us, it's like, why would we force them to change into our token? Sure, we love them too, and we'll provide incentives for them to do that. But we just want them using our platform and playing. And when you see the sort of turnovers in this space of what people are putting through and wagering, it's astronomical.
Absolutely. Scott?
Yeah, we also want to give people an opportunity to get an experience from holding crypto. I mean, you can stake it. There's not really an experiencer. And so what we're really about is how can we give people an experience for not only holding Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever coin they actually have, but to be able to go in and put some bets on the weekends on the NBA or NFL, whatever it may be, but to actually have an experience because you've got crypto and be able to then hopefully grow that crypto portfolio, not waiting for capital growth. Is a really sort of unique angle, and obviously the stake guys are doing a phenomenal job. They've got huge numbers, and even if we can just take a little slice of that, we're going to be certainly destined for some great things.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly, listen, it's about survival at this point, and that's not just for the Web3 asset class. I mean, there's a lot going on in Web2, and Main Street is going to be struggling as well as Wall Street. So, right now, and I've been through a number of different asset classes through I don't think anyone's calling this a recession, but, clearly there's some global economic issues going on around the world right now from the repercussions of COVID and lockdowns. And so, I don't know what's coming next, but I can quite simply say that the concepts of what you're putting out and the the theories of which you're validating is that people are going to want to spend more time connecting, but it's not going to be in physical spaces. And so I think exactly what you guys started out with BetU, which is connecting people around the world in a hobby of theirs. Some people it's a profession. I don't know the difference. And but adding that visual trait in there will really help with that in-person connection. Clearly, Paul, you and I have talked a number of times, but it's a very different thing to like suddenly see you in permissionless, and be able to interact in a more fluid manner besides just over Zoom or right here on the podcast. And I'm really excited to kind of see how the metaverse evolves, because right now it's still a video game. But we have to take steps and we have to move in that process. And so again, really excited to see what you guys are doing. What's the date of the drop, and then how can people find out more about the project and roadmap, and as well as if they want to read a white paper?
Yeah, so the planned drop it's either going to be on the 14th or the 21st of June. We haven't locked it in just yet. We will in the next week or so. If they want to find out more about BetUverse, it's betuverse.io is the website. Would love everyone to get involved who's interested in the space in terms of the NFTs. There's going to be a lot of utility moving forward. I know that through UJ, we've whitelisted a lot of the Y whales, so welcome aboard to everyone wants to get involved. And as Jay said, we're building a lot of things, and we see we're going to offer a lot of utility moving forward within our entire ecosystem. And we see essentially the NFTs as a way for people to actually own part of that metaverse experience, but also to get utility within our whole ecosystem. So by all means, if anyone is interested, would love to have you on board. At this stage, the NFTs will be going for 0.1 ETH. And yeah, love to have you on board. But betuverse.io is where you can find out more information.
That's a great price, and it's just getting lower every hour. Thank you guys so much. Y Whales, absolutely. This is BetU and BetU Metaverse coming soon. More information on the Discord, and guys, looking forward to having you back on Fireside. So thanks so much, and don't go anywhere.
Cheers, Jay.